Hello and welcome to Unschooled. I am Mandee Elam. I'm here with Sea Goddess Healing Arts and the beautiful Lexi, our mermaid in the mountains. Hey Lex, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Mandee?
I'm so good. I'm a happy camper. I'm kind of it's the beginning of August and I'm like, where's summer going? And we just hit our summer midpoint and I'm like, oh man, I'm really enjoying this summertime and I don't want it to leave quite yet.
Oh, I love summer, and where we are in Vermont, it has felt like fall like all week. So I've been actually like kind of in a where is summer? Like I miss summer. I want summer. It hasn't really felt like summer. So summer's my favorite time. I need some good summer vibes, some good summer energy.
Yeah, me too. Well, we have an interesting topic today that I want to jump in on.
A very real topic. I feel
Very
like
real
one that has
topic.
been brought to the surface this last moon really, I think, drew it out of so many too. That was kind of like part of the meaning behind the moon, right?
Well, I think so. And we're entering the Lionsgate portal, which is about stepping more into our authenticity. As we're recording this now, it's 222. So there's our confirmation. And, our topic today is victimhood and releasing victimhood and what that looks like and how to transmute yourself from, being a victim, because many of us are and have been in many ways in our lives. And there's all kinds of traumas and dramas and things that have happened. But then there's also opportunities to release that and to become more empowered. And I realized on my own journey that until I really showed up and learned what that meant and how to release like the whole victimhood thing, and that I was associating with my story so much that I began to co-create it more and more into my future back then. And so now that I've changed my perspectives and my ways of thinking and how I show up with myself first and foremost, I feel like my whole life has changed, and it was a missing component that I was never taught. So it's like a really nice thing for us to chat about here on Unschooled.
It is, and it's something that you just recently really helped me through. Um, it, I having just feel like a newbie, having in the midst of kind of learning this and going through it. I'm in the process of seeing, oh my gosh, how many times I've been operating from a victim mindset. Um, and your work as a guide and a support system has really helped me through this process, because it's kind of painful. It's not easy. This isn't like, you know what I mean? This is
No.
probably one of the most uncomfortable things to recognize in yourself and acknowledge. It's easier to shove it down or to like run from it. And then once you start though to face it head on and call yourself out on it, and you can step back for a minute and be like, ooh, this is what it's causing. Because I realized that by being in the victim mindset continually in a cycle sort of way, that it was really preventing and this frustrating aspect of reaching goals and living that life that I desire and I dream of and I want to create. So this process is so, I feel like, important to reach goals. Do you know what I mean? And to like get to that point. I've watched you where you are with it, hitting goals. It gives me hope to be able to, your support through it to do it. And this work, it's hard. I understand why people struggle through it, or you know what I mean, why this needs to be a topic we need to talk about more.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's uncomfortable. It's gotten to the point where it's really comfortable to, trauma bond or associate, oh, well, this happened. And so this is how I'm going to be the rest of my life. Or I had this diagnosis, so this is how I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I got diagnosed with a lot of things. My journey was very, very, very spiritual and mental and emotional, but also super physical. And that's where I invited myself, I should say, to really do shadow work with releasing victimhood, because I was like my third time I broke my back. I had ankle reconstruction surgery, I had all these things going on in my body, severe fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue flaring up, and gout attacks all the time. And so I had to find this balance between asking for help, because I did actually need it, while discovering what was causing it or creating it, and not just accepting it. I didn't want to just accept that, oh, well, I have this condition and it's going to be that way for the rest of my life. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I accept that this is the case, and I'm super glad I know about it, but I want to like learn how to heal it and empower myself. And I don't just like, I'm not settling for the fact that this is how I'm going to be the rest of my life. I have still to this day not had back surgery, and my mom was with me. I had this surgeon screaming at me, telling me I needed back surgery and I was never going to walk again, and that yoga doesn't actually like help it and heal it and like all this stuff. And I'm like, it didn't vibrate as true. It felt so wrong to me in that moment. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in pain. Yeah, I need help. Like, this isn't good. But at the same time, I just had this faith in myself and in my higher self and my body. And I'm like, there's more to this. And I'm going to take the path less traveled and roll my dice and figure it out. And I was really glad I did.
Yeah, and it's so funny because you're talking about the doctor yelling at you. I feel like we've been trained in a way or conditioned to believe that doctors have the answers and know all for our bodies. And to me, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
The more that I learn, I used to be that. I used to think, yes, I gotta go to a doctor for this. Oh, I have this pain, I gotta go to a doctor. Oh, I don't know. I'm not capable of healing this myself. I need to go to a doctor. And that victim mindset of needing somebody to fix you or diagnose you, tell you what's wrong with you, it's like, oh, intense. I know so many people that suffering, and they just want to feel better. And why can't they diagnose me? I've tried this, I've tried that, and I'm learning. Like that was me too. It's funny because my sciatica and back pain would like bother me, and I had a curvature of the spine that I would blame it on.
Yeah.
And as I start doing the work, I can literally feel shifts in the body and releasing, of certain pain. I'm like, oh my God. So I know for a fact what I've learned in this process, right, is that I store a lot of my anger and tension and frustration in my upper back and my my anger in my neck and my stress, and I tense. And it causes this back pain, and then it causes like a secondary back pain for being tense. And then it causes a third problem with my, heartburn, because everything's on fight or flight mode. I'm not relaxed. The cortisol is just pumping. And those adrenal glands, I'm putting myself in adrenal fatigue by not living authentically.
This is where the magic happens, and the opportunity to release the victimhood, because we all have stressors. We all have different things going on. One of the things I discovered along my journey was that the body is actually a faithful servant to the mind. And it's the things that we're thinking in our mind that create the disease and the imbalances within our body. Yes, there are absolutely environmental factors as well. And it's important to take a look at that. And, we are poisoning ourselves with lots of things. However, you're only going to be susceptible to that if you allow yourself to be so much. Like, there's a certain amount of protection that we can do just simply by the things that we thought and the things that we think and the perspectives that we have. And once we start to gain some knowledge and some power over that, we're like, wow, I can really transform what I'm doing. And that's what I did. I started to rebuild my spine after doing, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, and same with my ankle and all these different things. And it's like a slow dance and a slow process, but I feel like a little brighter and a little more empowered every single day. And I'm learning more and more. And when you don't show up for those same stories, you're not as sad, you're not as upset, you're not as lonely. And like, this is where you have the opportunity to start freeing yourself, because it's like, okay, well, you do have a curvature in your spine, or you did have this injury, or so-and-so is treating you that way, but you get to learn how you want to respond to it. You get to learn how you want to show up for it. And the best place to practice is when you are in severe pain. Where else do you have to go other than figure out something that helps you to distract yourself from the pain a little bit, or helps you to learn how to release it or ease it a little bit. And I'm a big fan of, well, if we're at rock bottom, we might as well start there. And if we're not at rock bottom, then, we say thank you. We always say thank you. Thank you for letting me breathe and be here at rock bottom. And then thank you for letting me, be where I'm at right now on this path and start from here.
I always say rock bottom is a good place because there's only up from there. But, it's so cheesy, but I love it because it's the truth. It is, and this releasing victimhood, when you do that, when you start to release that and all the different victimhood mindsets, like my biggest one that I'm currently still working through, thank God, with you as my support system. We need support on this. This is not like people that are like, oh, you got to do this work on your own. Like, no, I need support. Like, cause I'm so mean to myself and I'm trying to break that habit. So when I have you come in and guide, like, okay, you're doing a great job. This is what we got to do. Like, hold, and she'll tell me things and I won't believe it about, like, practice, just keep practicing. It will get easier and it'll release. And she's so right. I always come back and I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels so good. But while in the midst of it, it's so hard and scary. You know what I mean? And it's so easy to regress and not continue forward. But when you do, you regress, it comes back up. You keep going through this cycle and having the option, right, to face it or not. And it's like, so that whole, I was really finding myself a victim of the other shoe dropping, like things would get going good. And then I'm like, oh, something's going to happen. It's going too good. Right. And this victim mindset that something bad it was creating. And there's always something bad happen, or something to knock me down. And, like by releasing, like, no, like I don't have to call that in. It's okay. It's just another lesson. It's something falling off that shouldn't be, or just being able to, release that. It's free.
And it's what you were once comfortable with, like the other shoe dropping. When we get into survival mode, we're like, all right, what's coming next? This is too good to be true. That's one of the worst spells that we got cast upon us. This is too good to be true. And then when good things happen, we say that and we co-create it and we manifest it and we put that energy towards it. And the hardest work is really waiting for that other shoe to drop, transmuting that into trusting that I went through it. I learned some lessons. Nothing's ever perfect, but little by little, day by day, it's getting better. I'm getting more clarity. I'm learning how to control my finances more. I'm learning how to manage my body better. I'm learning what foods make me operate at my best. I'm learning which exercises work for me. I'm connecting to spirit in all these ways. I'm learning how to communicate with my mom in a different way than I ever have before, or family member, spouse, friend, people you love, whatever it is. They happen in these little subtle moments, and it doesn't. Sure, it can happen overnight in certain ways for certain people, but most of the time it's these little tiny things, these little tiny moments and steps, opportunities where we practice our responses in certain situations that help us to grow and shift and change.
It's changing that mindset. When you have, like, you taught me to change my mindset from, oh my God, here we go again, to, okay, there's something to be learned here. I got this. It's not going to knock me down. And it doesn't take the wind out of you. You know what I mean? Then, because you're like, nope, stand your ground. I'm not a victim here. I am, writing this story. So this is fine.
And we all have to parent ourselves. It's about learning how to reparent yourself and releasing that, okay, yeah, your parents, they weren't available in the way you wanted or needed them to be.
And so for anybody that is, I don't know, maybe wanting to release it, like, for me, it was like, first off, it was, where do I start? I don't know what to do, right? Because you don't, like, if you knew what to do, you wouldn't be repeating it, right? That's what I always said. That's why I come to you, like, what do I do? I had to go searching for that, like, what to do, like, what do I do? And what I found is as soon as you feel triggered, identify that trigger, right? What just triggered you? And then go follow that rabbit hole down that trigger, right? Where did that trigger come from? Do the work right there in the moment. I carry a journal around with me and a pen. I look like I don't care, because I'm doing my work as it comes up, right? Instead of, I feel like I'm shifting it constantly, which makes me feel even more empowered. You know what I mean? It makes me feel like, okay, I got this. This is fine. This is fine. We're just clearing some stuff. We're making room, right? We're getting
Yep.
to the other side of this. It's good. It's good. I'm in control. So to take that trigger, you know, now it's like I can catch myself. Ooh, I'm in victim mode here. What was the trigger? And like write it down and get to the bottom of it. And then I can like dissect it, you know, and then from there rebuild what I want and like see what it is for what it is. I perceived it to be bigger than it really was, or I perceived it to knock me down, you know? No, I got it. It's a lesson. Changing that mindset. Oh, thank God you've helped me with that. I got some ways to go, you know, it's a process. I'm not on
We
the
all
other side
do.
yet. I'm in the midst of all that work. And let me tell you what, it's worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it. Like we gotta do it. We need like
We
a
all
support team
do.
for it too. So if anybody wants a support team for this work, you know who to reach out to. You got us.
Yeah, we're happy to hold space with you. And that's the thing, when you start to do it, when you start to really do the work, and even when you're just trying to figure out, all right, I just don't want to be, and even like I said, if you have a diagnosis, if you have like some sort of, you know, a lot of people have type 1 or type 2 diabetes, different things like that, you know, you might just like you got something you got to deal with. But so many people also with that have an opportunity to say, okay, well, that's just part of me. That's just part of what makes me unique right now. And it doesn't mean I'm a victim. It doesn't mean this or that. It just means it's like how I roll right now. Just like, you know, whether it's any sort of ailment or disability or thing you're healing at the time, we all ebb and flow and change. And so a lot of times these stories will stick with us, and then we'll have a really hard time learning how to release them. But you can if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to drink our Kool-Aid and do what, you know,
Right.
do what we have found has worked for us. However, it's just an opportunity. It's just a perspective. And the cool thing that Lex was referring to earlier is when you start to really do it, you start to feel what it feels like to hold yourself accountable, to mother yourself, to parent yourself, to eat the foods that make your body feel better. And then when you eat the foods that don't make your body feel better, you're like, oh, all right, I get why I feel like shit right now. Or, you know, you missed your meditation or your morning workout or yoga or soul time or whatever it is you were calling in that was starting to make you feel better. If you don't stay devoted to it, you lose your medicines, you go back to your reconditioning, because this is where the work is. You have to show up for yourself. You have to parent yourself. You're the only one who can do it.
Yeah. And releasing victimhood, I feel like, and releasing those things help you by doing so, giving yourself that self-care and honoring yourself and making that a priority. It goes hand in hand. So you know what I mean? We started talking about that. And it goes hand in hand, and it's an encouragement. You know what I mean? Like the positive, like call it all in, create it, live it.
Absolutely. I love that. Do you have any other words of wisdom you want to share today before we wrap up this episode of Unschooled?
Just don't give up, right? Don't give up. Keep going. Hold your head high. Anytime, don't let things knock you down, you know? Take a step back. You know, don't let it little things overpower you, you know?
And I feel like by showing up authentically and like honoring your feelings in the moment and crying or going out and throwing some rocks in the woods or whatever it is, those types of things can help you to be more present, to not get weighed down. A lot of times when we don't process stuff, when we hold on to it, when we just take it, put it on, well, I'm a victim, let's put it on my tab, here we go. That is what weighs us down, not releasing all of these old things, all of these stories, all these experiences. Even if you went through hell and back, there is an opportunity to find your own personal freedom in that, whatever that looks like. That's how this beautiful world is designed. And doesn't mean it was okay, doesn't mean it was fair, doesn't mean anything like that. But there is, I believe, very much an opportunity always for a silver lining, or to grow, or to become every single one of us just want to do better and feel better each day. For the most part. If you don't, you don't. That's cool. You do you. We do us. However, I think it's all an opportunity.
Yeah, mindset work. Oh, thank you so much. I love holding this space for these important topics that aren't talked about enough.
You too, sister. It was such an honor, and I honor you and all of our listeners, and thank you so much. If you haven't already, please like or subscribe to See Goddess Healing Arts. We have lots of new content and events coming your way, and it's just an honor. Sending love and light to everybody out there.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.